What's up everybody? Poppin John here again with a really dope lesson on slow motion, okay? There's so many different directions you can go with this style or this concept, and a really cool thing that I've been able to develop is this weird balance technique with slow motion. Okay, so I'm gonna break down the concept of slow motion really quick, and then we're gonna jump into some of the balance stuff and see what we get from there, okay? So, first, the concept of slow motion, I really have to visualize a speed, okay? That's something that's really important. I visualize the speed that I wanna go, and I really kind of feel like I'm a video. Okay, I'm watching a video and the video gets slowed down. Okay, so everything about my movement, my breathing, all of that put together, I really try to give that effect of a video that's being slowed down. Okay, so you can have different speeds. It doesn't have to be super slow motion all the time like this. It can be a little bit slower than normal. You know, this is a little bit slower than normal, okay? So you have to pick the speed first, and then you have to commit to that speed, all right? So those are two really big rules that I give myself when I do anything in slow motion, and it really helps to show the illusion and let the audience really take it in and see that illusion for what it is, okay? So, one thing that I do is to get into slow motion, I use a speed change, okay? I'm a really big fan of contrast, okay? So for me, robot and waving, they contrast each other. So I really like to put them right next to each other to show the different techniques and how awesome they both are, but when they're next to each other, you can appreciate it a little bit more. Okay, so with slow motion, a speed change contrasts the slow motion. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going pretty fast. I'm going to do a speed change, boom, and then I'm going to float into slow motion. Okay, so instead of just starting in slow motion, there's a moment, there's a starting point, okay? So I always use a speed change. This is one of my little rules. It doesn't matter which direction you go. You can go down, you can go up, you can go to the side, back, okay, forward. But that little quick movement is your starting point. It's after that moment, everything is this super slow or whatever speed you pick, okay? So a few things that I use my hands, all right? So a cool thing that you can do is just develop this, this hand technique. So all I'm doing is I'm moving each finger individually up and down, and I'm using the same speed, all of them, okay? So a mentor of mine, Mr. Steen from Denmark, he calls this putting life into your hands, okay? So anytime you're on a stage or something like that, you're in some cool lighting, if you put life into your hands, it just gives this whole body, this weird atmosphere to it, okay? So with slow motion, I always have my hands moving, okay? So I'm using each individual finger, they're moving on their own, and this kind of gives a slow motion feel to it. It's almost like being underwater, and this kind of is the plants around you, okay? So it doesn't really matter what your body's doing, even if I'm just leaning to the side. With this, it kind of adds an atmosphere, okay? So no matter where my hands are, I always have them either opening or closing. There's always some type of movement in my hands, okay? So this adds a lot to my slow motion, all right? I always have a movement going on with my hands. Woof. Okay, it can get kind of wavy. You can be doing this, but there's always some type of movement going on with the hands, okay? Okay, see the other thing that I'm using is I'm using some dime stops with my speed change. Okay, so I'm moving into a direction and I use a dime stop and I float everything else in the opposite direction. Okay, so if I'm going back, boom, it's coming forward, or down, boom, it's coming up. So that's just a couple of small rules on speed change, is to use a dime stop, boom, and then that is the moment that everything goes into slow motion. Okay, another really cool concept is to think about like a force field in front of you. And the moment that you cross this force field, this is slow motion land over here, okay? So like, after you pass this line that you make for yourself, it's this moment that you have to commit. It's like you can't move quickly over there. You know, I give myself all these little rules and it really helps my body to translate the illusion, okay? So we can blast through this, this force field, this slow motion land. Okay, so this moment, I'm really focused on continuously moving. Okay, this is a really big one, is I'm continuously moving when I'm in slow motion. Because if I go boom and I stop and then there's a little bit of movement, it's like the illusion's gone, okay? I almost like, I like to think about a candle that's melting, okay? So a candle that's melting, it's always moving. There's always a little bit of movement, okay? So I kind of like really want my body to have that melting wax feel to it. It's like there's all kinds of movement going on. It's all the same speed, and I'm committed to that speed, okay? One thing that I do with my upper body is I'm always moving in a direction, okay? So I'm either moving forward, okay, or to the side, or back, to the side, down, okay? So I'm always moving. A lot of times I'm moving forward because this can last a really long time. Just pushing from one foot, shifting your weight to the front foot. Okay, boom, and I can start taking a step. I can come up, back down. Okay, so this is where we're going to get into some of the balance stuff, all right? The key to this is, it's like you want to put a lot of energy into your legs, okay? It's almost like I'm gripping the ground. I'm using the ground to keep my balance. I'm coming up on my toes, down, and I'm really focused on the speed, okay? I really want my speed to be the same. No matter what direction or position I'm going into, I'm committed to that speed, okay? So this is my slow, boom. I start taking a step, okay, my heel touches first. I don't just put my foot down, you know, I really almost feel like I'm in lava or something. Okay, I know a lot of these analogies, like like the melting wax, the lava, it's like thickness, you know, it's like I have that idea in my mind, and all of the movement that I do, it has this like heavy, melty weirdness to it, okay? So when we get into using the ground and using the strength in our legs, I'm really using like my muscles. I'm focused on keeping the speed. I'm focused on keeping my balance. It's not necessarily like this, it's not a choreography. I'm not really like, oh, it's this step and then this step. It's like, I really want to just be in slow motion world, okay? For some of the beginners in this course, I know that that's a really big subject, just to be like, okay, you're in slow motion, you're gonna feel like you're just doing this, but like, it'll come with time. You know what I'm saying? Like, try a slow motion run, a slow motion walk, okay? Try to think of a character, try to do some dance moves in slow motion. Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate some of these here in a second. But the more that you really like just use some of these rules, like passing the barrier or the speed change moment, and then just really committing to that. Listen to a song that helps you, you know, that sounds like epic, that sounds like relaxing, okay? So that really helps you to kind of like really blend into that slow motion, okay? So we have this shift in weight is really important from the front foot to the back foot, okay? So this wobble, I use this in so much of my dance. I use this in robot, I use this in gliding, and I definitely use this in slow motion because this keeps that continuous motion with my upper body. Okay, when I'm taking steps, it's not just me walking like this. I'm not just walking. Okay, I'm shifting from my back foot forward with my upper body. I start to take the step. Boom, I put my foot down and then boom, forward. Okay, so I have all of this forward motion going on. Ooh, it's not just me walking like this, okay? So I'm actually using this push forward, up, okay? I'm using my breath. Okay, I think about the ocean. I think about what it feels like to be underwater. You know, what it feels like to be in hot lava if it wasn't burning my body. You know, like the weight of it. Being in a bathtub full of like wax or something. Okay, so all of these feelings really add to the slow motion, or adds to like what I'm thinking in my mind. You know, I'm not just trying to do a dance move or this concept of being in slow motion. I'm actually thinking of all these feelings and what it feels like to be in those moments and really trying to translate it to the audience. Okay, so for a slow motion run, this is a few keys. Okay, that shift forward. Okay, so I'm not just doing this with my legs. I'm not just doing that in slow motion. I'm actually pushing forward to where I have this continuous motion. I have the life into my hand. Woo. Okay, I've committed to the speed. Woo. Okay, I'm going up, down, forward. Woo. Okay, so all of this, I'm committed to the speed. Ooh. All right, so then once I have my speed down and I can just kind of like be here in slow motion, I can start playing with actual like dance moves, with like actual choreography. So like for an example, a wave, all right? A lot of people, this is gonna be tough at first because you've practiced a wave like this, you know, that fast. So I'm in slow motion, woo. And even if you have to count, it's okay. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So that was 1, 8 for each arm. All right? You can even go slower. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So this is where you have to be really patient because it feels like you're almost doing nothing, but look how awesome it looks. Okay? So we have, this is a full 8 count. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right? So, while we're in slow motion, this is a really cool moment. You can add a speed change to start that move. You can be, I'm in slow-mo. Ooh, I'm using my feet. I'm really gripping the ground. I'm pushing onto my toes, onto my heel. I'm adding a wobble. I have the life into my hands. And a really nice contrast moment is a speed change. Okay? So this kind of like really changes the game because the audience gets comfortable watching you be in slow motion. And then all of a sudden when you add that little glitch, it's like, there's like fight scenes in movies like this now. There's like slow motion moment, and then a fast moment, and then another, you know, it's like they play with the speeds of the film. Okay, so check this out. I'm in slow motion. Woo, speed change. Taking a step. Ooh. All right. Boom, I'm really focused on the speed. This is almost calming. Ooh. Okay, I'm in slow motion. I feel good about it. Nice little speed change. Now, here comes this wave. Okay, so it has a continuous motion. You can add a speed change, which really makes stuff look crazy because if you have this continuous motion and you're playing with the speeds, but you're very like conscious of what you're doing, it's not just, you can easily lose the illusion if you go too crazy with playing with speeds. So it's important to like really get the concept of slow motion down, and then you can start to add the speed changes into your dance just to like contrast it up, okay? Really important, this wobble, like pushing from foot to foot, pushing forward, back, to the side, like all of these things really add to it. Think about being underwater, think about hot lava, think about like being on a planet that has way stronger gravity, you know, where it's almost hard to pull your foot up off the ground. Okay, I'm using a lot of energy. Okay, woo, boom. Okay, I'm using a lot of energy in my feet to where I can go toe to heel, heel to toe. Boom. Okay, and then you can get into doing footwork where it's like you take a step and woo. Okay, so I'm really using a lot of energy in my feet. Boom. All right, this requires a lot of practice, okay? It doesn't happen overnight. It does help to strengthen your legs. Anytime you're like waiting for an elevator or you're on some escalators, like do these, because this will really strengthen your feet to where you can do all of these really cool walks. And then you'll develop this foot strength where you can add into your gliding. It really, really helps to strengthen your feet and ankles. So I hope that helps. I know I jumped around quite a bit, but I want to kind of like touch on as many things as I possibly can for you guys, so you can go back and rewatch this and really apply each of those little elements into your practice. Okay? So I hope you guys are having fun. I hope you're learning, and much love to you guys. Poppin' John here. Peace.